You're listening to NFRN The Drive, your place for NFRN, NASCAR, and motorsport news. Good evening, everybody. Colin Denton here. Welcome to another edition of NFRN The Drive. It's been quite a while since we did our first episode, but we're getting back into it with a big stash of NFRN news, rounding out our next season of NFRN Elite Cup Series drivers. We got the points and track reveal. We've got some awards to give away from Season 1, but let's kick it off with some NASCAR news, some big stuff coming out in the past day. Let's start with NASCAR Hall of Fame nominees. We've got 20 NASCAR figures on the list. 5 of them will be inducted into the next Hall of Fame class. Take a look at this list of potential inductees. Davey Allison, 19-time winner in the Cup Series, 92 Daytona 500 winner. Buddy Baker, also a 19-time winner in the Cup Series and a winner of the Daytona 500 and Southern 500. Red Byron is the first champion of NASCAR altogether. Ray Everham, a 3-time Cup Series champion crew chief. Red Farmer, he's a 3-time late model sportsman champion and 1956 modified champion as well. Ray Fox, a legendary engine builder, crew chief, and car owner. Joe Gibbs, a 9-time owner championship in Cup and Xfinity Series competition. Ron Hornaday Jr., a 4-time NASCAR Camping World Truck Series champion. Harry Hyde, 1970 Cup Championship crew chief. Alan Kawicki, the 1992 NASCAR Cup champion. Bobby Labonte, a champion in both the Cup Series in 2000 and the Xfinity Series as well. Herschel McGriff, the 1986 NASCAR West Series champion. Roger Penske, a legendary owner, still running 2 cars in the Cup Series this season. A 4-time championship owner in the Cup and Xfinity Series. Larry Phillips, only 5-time NASCAR Weekly Series national champion. Jack Rouse, a 5-time car owner champion in all of the NASCAR National Touring Series. Ricky Rudd, a 23-time winner in NASCAR Cup competition, including the 1997 Brickyard 400. Ken Squire, a legendary radio and TV broadcaster. Mike Stefanik, a winner of a record-tying 9 NASCAR championships. Waddell Wilson won 3 NASCAR Cups championships as an engine builder. Robert Yates won Cup championships as both an engine builder and an owner. That is the list of potential inductees into the next NASCAR Hall of Fame class. We'll see those results coming up this summer. Also on the news front, Las Vegas is getting a second date for NASCAR, and all the series are getting involved. The Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority made an agreement with NASCAR. It's expected to be a $25 million sponsorship deal over a 10-year period. Now, Speedway Motorsports Incorporated will have to realign their track layout and shift around a couple races. So, the Cup and Truck Series are giving up a date at New Hampshire, and the Xfinity Series is dropping a standalone Xfinity weekend. All 3 of those dates will go to Las Vegas, and it's expected to create 2 triple-header weekends with all of those series. Also, penalties being laid out from Atlanta weekend. 3 encumbered finishes, all coming from Cup guys, but across all 3 racing series. The biggest blow is going to come to AJ Allmendinger. He had 3 loose lug nuts at the end of the race in post-race inspection. He's going to lose 35 driver and owner points as a result. That drops him from 11th to 34th in the standings. Also, his crew chief, Randall Burnett, gets a $65,000 fine and suspension from the next 3 races. The Xfinity Series winner, Kyle Busch, his car was too low in the front, and he isn't affected in driver points, but the owner points for the number 18 car will be lost, docked 10, and all the playoff privileges associated with that win will not count anymore. And that's the first time that's happened since the encumbered finish rules came into effect last season. The crew chief will also be sitting out. That is Scott Graves. He'll get a race suspension and a $10,000 fine. In the trucks, Chase Elliott's truck was also experiencing some height issues. He will not get any driver points docked because he's not running for points in the trucks, but GMS's number 23 loses 10 owner points, and crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz is fined $5,000 and gets a 1-race suspension as well. Now how about we take a look at the championship standings. Let's see how they're being affected by stages. Kevin Harvick got 2 stage wins at Atlanta, but then lost it all. Went back to 9th after a pit road error. He is still leading the championship points, though. He has 90. Kurt Busch, the Daytona winner, just behind him, and Brad Keselowski, the Atlanta winner, just a few points back from there. Obviously, Daytona's a bit of a wild card in terms of where some of these guys stack up, but how about Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. all the way back in 32nd and 33rd, those Hendrick teammates? Meanwhile, up front, you got some young guys like Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Trevor Bayne perhaps. They're all running in the top 10. They're doing pretty good for themselves up there. Clint Boyer's in 13th place just after switching to Stewart-Haas Racing, so he's having a bit of a good comeback year right here. Kyle Busch also one of those drivers that's struggling to get his footing, but he also has a stage win that gives him a playoff point, but of course that playoff point won't count unless he can make it to the chase. And this early in the season, we can have some good assumptions that he'll probably see victory lane sometime before we head to our first chase race at Chicagoland. Elliott Sadler is leading the way in the Xfinity points, has 2 stage wins, 2 playoff points. Obviously did not go his way at the finish of Daytona. And how about his junior motorsports teammates and rookie William Byron, just in 2nd place, 3 points behind him. Ryan Reed, the Daytona winner, in 3rd place. He's the only Xfinity regular that has the win, considering Kyle Busch took away a win at Atlanta, which of course was encumbered due to height issues, but either way does not count toward any of those guys. And over in the truck series, Christopher Bell having a heck of a run up to the top of the leaderboard after sweeping Atlanta. 2 stage wins, a race win, leads him to 7 playoff points early in this season. Johnny Sauter just behind him. Kaz Grolier, Daytona winner, running 4th. Ben Roach, who did not make the chase last season, he's running a nice 3rd. Of course, going to need to get some race wins if you want to see yourself in the chase. Still the way to get qualified for it. I apologize for calling it the chase. It's now called the playoffs. It's good to see Regan Smith running up there in 7th place, but unfortunately doesn't seem like he's going to run the full season, but maybe they'll reconsider based on how he's doing right now. Still running 37 points behind the leader because of this new point system, but he's doing a decent job right now, and maybe they could get themselves to a victory at some point. So on that note, let's talk about our fan pulse question of the day. On a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being a thumbs up and 1 being a thumbs down, go ahead and make your rating for the stage racing format. Go ahead, and that link will be up in the top right. There'll be a poll up there for you to cast your vote and tell us what you're thinking about the new system. We'll see how everyone's adjusting to it. So that is enough NASCAR news for us right now. Let's get into some NFRN talk. We've got some things to talk about. Plenty of stuff to reveal. Let's start with how our points system will work out. We paneled a few drivers from season 1. We ended up taking 12 different drivers' opinions, and here is what we have come up with. Next season, we will be running the 2016 system, which is the same system that we ran in season 1. We are not adjusting to the same system that NASCAR has implemented in its 3 top series. We're going to have a 16 race regular season in the Elite Cup Series, of course, and then knockout rounds all throughout the rest of the playoffs. So that is going to stay exactly as it's been, but we didn't stop there. Those 12 drivers also gave us their opinion on which tracks were the most competitive and the most fun to watch racing on. So we have compiled a list of 5 different tracks voted on by drivers, as well as 1 track picked on Commissioner's Choice. And one track is also getting bumped out for good. Never going to return back to the NFRN schedule. So take a look at this. Pikes Peak, Riki Raceway, Twin Ring Motegi, Bump Draft and Superspeedway, and Zen Joltis will all find themselves back on the schedules for the NFRN, as well as Ontario as a Commissioner's Choice. And finally, RTR Motorsports Park got the lowest rating of those 12 drivers, so we do not expect to see that back on the NFRN schedule anytime soon. So on that, let's talk about the schedules for the top 3 NFRN series. Those are all fairly well determined. Not quite sure that they are going to be finalized, but we can consider most of those first tracks on the schedule good to go. Let's start with the NFRN Elite Cup Series. A 26 race schedule will start at Columbia Superspeedway with a trio of races. First off, we'll have the Clash, and that will involve our pole winners from last season. And then we'll move on to the Duels, which will compete and set our running order for the first race of the season, and also involve a mashup of several Amateur Cup Series racers, much more than the normal open qualifying sessions will take in. We'll see if we can fit some of those into our first race taking place at Columbia Superspeedway in Columbia, Missouri, at our headquarters. Then we'll move on to our first track returning to the schedule. Pikes Peak was race number 15 last season. This time it will be race number 2. We'll head there pretty early, head out to Colorado. And then from there we're going to a new track, Pigs Cliff, which is a quite unique shaped track, but a very fast-paced track, very long yet high banked. Gonna offer a lot of speed for these drivers. Should be a fun one to watch. We'll head to the short track of Death Valley, Mirage Oval, and then we'll head to another one of our returning tracks. Riki Raceway was the first race of the chase last season. We'll see that in spot number 5. Green Valley Super Speed Ring will also, in addition to being our 6th race, will also hold our all-star event of all returning winners. They'll have to have a ride in the Elite Cup Series or Amateur Cup Series to be eligible for that one. And of course, we'll have the showdown to make sure we can get some extra drivers in. We'll head to our another returning track, Twin Ring Motegi, in race number 7. And race number 8, how about we go to a track named 8 Bull, the figure 8 shaped track. Plenty of racing action to happen there. We're going to switch up our road courses this season. We're heading to Linden Hill to start off the first of 2 road courses the Elite Cup Series will head to in this season. We'll head to another big track, going to Van Zant. And then Bump Draft and Super Speedway comes back in at slot number 11 on the schedule. We'll head to Knox, and that will be our second road course race of the season at race number 12. And then Zen Joltis comes up at race number 13. Now, of course, this was a very critical spot in the chase to have some issues, but now you won't have to worry about it as much as it will be a part of the regular season. So it's going to be a lot more competitive without as much repercussions as it was before. Castle Gorge will take up our next spot at race number 14. Going to be our new Seattle track. We'll head to Peoria, Illinois. That will be our race number 15. And finally, wrapping up the regular season, we head to Race Car Central Raceway Park. To start off the chase, we'll head to Texas World in College Station, Texas, a nice 2-miler to get us some speed. Toronto Lakeshore will be up next, and that's a nice little miler track. Then we head to NASCAR, and that will round out our round of 16. Simtel Park will start up the round of 12, and then our final returning track, Ontario, gets back in, and it will start in the chase this time around, and it's got a nice little revamp. Looks like it added a bit of seating and a bit more added features to the racetrack. Should be a nice viewing area. And finally, to wrap up the round of 12, we head to Milwaukee Mile, a fixture of some of our NASCAR racing in the 90s and early millennium. Myrtle Beach will start off our round of 8, a nice spot for local short track racing, and Motor City comes up after that. Carbondale will be our final race before we head to Pennsylvania Mountain to round out the 2017 Elite Cup Series schedule. Now let's head over to the Amateur Cup Series schedule. Similar tracks here, but some are very different. Let's take a look. Columbia will be our lead-off track. That's going to be the case for all 3 of our top series. We'll head to Pikes Peak next, as well as Pigs Cliff. But Grand Detour will be our first different track, altering from the Elite Cup Series schedule in a 4th race of a 12-race regular season. We'll get back on track with 8 Bowl, but we'll also head to Thompson, see what kind of race we can get out there. Van Zandt and Bump Drafton Super Speedway will also be a part of the mix, as well as Knox. We'll add another road course with Mirage 2, another Death Valley course. Nice little Grand Prix out there. We'll see how they handle that one. We end out the regular season with Peoria and RCCRP. Then we get into the chase, and we start off a little bit different. Instead of Texas World, we head to Nashville, which has been a part of NASCAR as well. NASCAR and Simtel Park will wrap up the round of 12. Then Milwaukee Mile, Motor City, and Carbondale, the round of 8. Finally ending off at Pennsylvania Mountain. And over in the NFRN Truck Series, we'll start off with Columbia and Pikes Peak. We'll see some action at Twin Ring Motegi, but Trenton is going to be one of those unique tracks that only the Truck Series will race at. We've got a race yet to be determined, but we do know it will take place at a dirt track. Still working out where that will be, but we can definitely confirm what kind of racing surface it's going to be. We're going to also see what we want to do about format, but that's all yet to be determined. Plenty of time before we get to that event, so we'll definitely keep you up to date there. They'll join the Cup Series at Zen Joltis, and then they'll have a bit of a different road course on their schedule. They'll head to Mayville and see what they can do out there. And Texas World, which would be the first race of the Cup Series chase, they'll do it just before they head to their own chase. And their chase will start at Toronto Lakeshore and then head to Derrick's Motodrome. And finally ending off the round of 8 at Ontario. In the round of 6, Myrtle Beach, Motor City, Carbondale, all following that Cup schedule, finally ending off at Pennsylvania Mountain. So that is what your schedule looks like for the top 3 NFRN series. There's going to be some more announcements for those 4 lower series coming up soon. We're expecting 12 race schedules for all of those, and hopefully they'll match similarly to what they actually run with those different mods. But how about we get into the NFRN Elite Cup Series drivers, as we've seen plenty of them join into the series. We've got 26 rookies and 10 veterans returning. We're going to give you a recap of all of those different drivers. You can't miss the Season 1 champion Rampage returning to the racetrack. Going to be running his same ride. Might see some different paint schemes throughout the season, but Missouri native looking to get back to the front, see what he can do in his second season of racing action. John Arndt made the championship round last season, and of course we all know how that turned out at the very end. It just wasn't quite what you wanted when you're running for a championship, but we'll see how he can come back and how this one will turn out this season. Hopefully he'll have some better luck. Nick Smith returning for another season of action. the round of 8 contender. Couldn't quite make it past those final 3 races before the championship round, but the Ohio native will see what he can do. And a new ride, now sponsored by Toys R Us. NASCAR Fan 19 was also part of that round of 8. Found 2 victories in the chase alone that got him to that point, but kind of stumbled in the late stages. We'll see what the Missouri native can do there. Reese Butcher is returning to action, grabbed a victory at Delaware early in the season. Couldn't quite find victory lane once again, but he'll be back and looking for some more chase action. Stephen Willey won the first race of the NFRN Elite Cup Series and made himself into the chase, but was unfortunately knocked out very early on. But he is looking to get back into it, as well as William Brock, also dropped out in the round of 16. The Georgia native looking for a little bit of luck by switching over to the number 23. Same paint scheme, just not the 40 car as it was last season. We've also got 3 non-chasers rejoining us. Johnny Gardner was able to grab a late win at RTR Motorsports Park, which of course was the track that is no longer a part of the NFRN based on votes from the driver panel. Tyler Markell also getting back into action at NFL Lions Chevrolet, and Noah Cars returns back to action as well, and we'll see what he does in a bit refreshed and revamped paint scheme. And we also take a look at the rookie class of 2017. Julio Cesar is going to be joining us, the Brazilian driver. In fact, we have 4 different international drivers this season. He'll be driving the number 0 HCNT Chevrolet. Looks like Rampage won't be the only Ram in the field. Rambo out of Texas running the Jimmy John's Chevrolet. Just a bit different scheme than Kevin Harvick runs. Mitchell Mark out of Illinois running the number 5 Xfinity Ford, trying to make his first NFRN action up top. Aiden Shepard running the number 7 Powerade Chevrolet. He'll be joining us out of Texas as well. Zachary Fitzwater Sr. coming from Australia. He's going to run a number 9 Ford, just as Sam Hornish Jr. ran back in 2015. Jack Porkins, number 04 Conseco Ford. He is joining us out of Florida. David Davidson from Alabama. He is running the number 11 McDonald's Chevrolet. Slick ride he's rocking right there. Number 12, Bruno de Barros, the Brazilian, running the number 12 Loctite Chevrolet. See what he can do in his first racing action. Out of California, Dominic Carranza in the number 24 Valvoline Chevrolet. Another Aussie, Stuart Gradden in the number 29 Pertec Ford. Nice scheme he's rocking right there. Out of New York, Eric Monaco running the number 33 Palomar International Chevrolet. And Jet Kraus out of Florida running the MDK Racing Chevrolet. Caleb Campbell coming out of Georgia, looking to make his run in number 41 Boy Scouts of America Chevrolet. And Cody Hagan out of Indiana, Mountain Dew Baja Blast number 42 Chevrolet. Coming out of Maine all the way up northeast, Brad Stover in the number 55 M&M's Chevrolet. And how about our first and only female running some NFRN Elite Cup Series racing action? Amethyst Ashley out of Texas, running the number 57 Tabasco Chevrolet. Out of Michigan, Dale Jr. Fan 8883. He's got the Crystal Pepsi Chevrolet in number 76. Jonathan Rains, flashy number 77 Taco Bell Chevrolet. He hails from West Virginia. And out of Louisiana, we got the number 78 Bass Pro Shops Camry of Philip Fry. And take a look at that model as well. New 2018 model for those Toyota Camrys that are running in the series this season. And also out of Georgia, Jake Baskinger running that number 84 Xbox One Toyota Camry. Eli Bright out of Missouri running the number 88 Nationwide Chevrolet. quite similar look to the Dale Jr. ride. Out of New Jersey, Gerard Oran, number 91 Subway Toyota Camry. And the Michigan native, Noah Poncer, running the DJI Chevrolet, number 92. Into number 97, Miller Lite Ford, we've got the Missouri native, Adam Mundinger. Out of Illinois comes the other JR, running the number 98 Eris Ford. He's running a very similar scheme. Said he wanted it just like Carl Edwards ran. And our final full-time competitor, Ryan Maiden, out of Kentucky, running the number 99 Taco Bell Chevrolet. We also won't shy away from telling you a bit about some of the teams that have already formed up. AMI Incorporated features a two-car tandem of Bruno DeBarros and Amethyst Ashley. Checkmate Motorsports has Stephen Willey and Jonathan Rains. Gardner Racing will include Johnny Gardner and Zachary Fitzwater Sr. Ramco Motorsports has Rampage and NASCAR Fan 19. And RPG7 Motorsports, Jack Porkins, Stuart Gradden, and the other JR all officially signed up as teams. And now we can get to some Season 1 awards for our drivers. Here's how it's going to break down. We've got 7 different awards that are handed out on an individual race basis. Now we tracked down those awards and copied them down into a list format. Here's how they look. Pole award gets $6,000 each time and $100,000 to the best driver who accumulates the most in terms of laps led. $5,000 each goes to the top lap leading car of each race, and $100,000 to the driver who accumulates the most races with most laps led. Breaking a race award goes to the driver who is able to lead at the end of a first caution, and if there's no cautions, it'll just be the end of the race. That's going to pay out $5,600 each and $100,000 to the best driver at the end of the year. Power Move Award goes to the driver who picks up the most spots between the start and the finish. Gets $5,000 each and $100,000 at the end of the season if you're the best. Driver of the race is simply the race winner. $5,200 to each race winner and $100,000 for winning the most races at the end of the season. Fastest Lap Award goes to the driver who's able to pick up the fastest lap in the race. $5,500 each time and $100,000 to the best driver. And we've got a bit of a bonus category as well. Rookie of the race, $1,500 each and $50,000 to the Rookie of the Year. But because it was Season 1 and everyone was essentially a rookie, we excluded it from contention this year. Will be incorporated into Season 2. And this also will not apply to every other series that just started up this year. So let's take a look at how the awards broke down. Here are your list of pole award winners. Of course, these are also going to be drivers who are eligible for the Clash as long as they're signed up for one of the top 2 series. And we are also unable to award a single driver for the top spots. We're going to have to break this award down to $20,000 increments and pay it out to the top 5 drivers who were all able to get 2 poles during the season. Conrad Cooper, KDude 124, NASCAR Fan 1418, Rampage, and The Flash. Here is a list of races with most laps led. As you can see, Grayson Acevedo and Reese Butcher, they split a race. They both led, I believe it was 15 laps in a race at Riki Raceway. So they both got credited on that, and they ended up splitting one. Wasn't going to make a difference here. Dejon Weeks and Johnny Gardner both had the most laps led in 3 races. They will split the prize at $50,000 each. Breaking the Race Award, here's your list there. And there is definitely no controversy there. Harry Saora led at the first caution or the end of the race with no cautions 3 different times. He'll walk away with a $100,000 bonus. How about that Power Move Award? Here's a list of drivers who made the most gains between the start and finish of the races. And John Arndt was the top driver at 3 different races with the most spots accumulated. He'll get that $100,000 prize. Here's a list of all the drivers that were able to win a race during the season. And it's a six-way tie up the top between Barry Goldberg, Dejan Weeks, Harry Sauer, NASCAR Fan 19, Rampage, and Zach Campbell, who all won 2 races. They'll have to split that prize up. And finally, we've got the fastest lap award. There is a list of how those broke down. Carson Scott, Dale Jr., Dude 88, Dan Bandon, John Arndt, and Marty Johnson all going to take home a $20,000 piece of the pie. And congratulations to Chevrolet, who took home the Manufacturer Championship. They were able to win exactly half of the races throughout the season at 13. Ford took home 8 different race wins, and Toyota took home 5. And we've also got a Most Popular Driver award to give away, and that honor is going to go to Colin Lindsay in the first season. Not signed up for the League Cup Series this season, but finished second in the championship round at race number 26. Well, that is all of the NFRN news for today, and we want to give those who are watching us live right now a little special opportunity. If you were unable to sign up for the Elite Cup Series, well, the Amateur Cup Series is expected to have signups tonight, and the video is actually up right now. However, it is still unlisted. So, because you're watching live right now, and if you're needing a ride, how about you go sign up right now and make sure you get your spot before it gets opened up to the public. Down in the description at the very bottom, you got to click read more and head all the way to the bottom. There's a link right there. Sends you straight to the official sign up video right there. And from there you can get the link to the survey that you need to fill out to make sure you're signed up. But how about you go click on that right now, because you're going to get about a half hour to an hour advantage over everyone else. Make sure you can get signed up and reserve your spot. This might come in handy for all of those who are eligible for the Clash at the beginning of the season. We've only got a few drivers signed up. Anyone that wants to be in this that hasn't gotten a ride so far is going to need to make sure they're signed up for the Amateur Cup Series, because that's the only way they're going to be eligible for this event. So make sure you're tuned in for that. So from all of us here at RBN and NFRN, I'm Colin Denton. Good night and good riddance.